Everyone says Joburg is the thrifting capital of South Africa, and they're not wrong. But if you're in Cape Town and you want to go thrifting, let me show you a couple of places that I visited that I'm quite impressed with. And if they're not too far from you, why not visit them and check them out? And at the end, I even have an informal thrifting spot that you can visit. Let's get into it. Hello, hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we're going thrifting in Cape Town. This is not my first time thrifting here, but I will say the last time I thrifted here, I did visit a lot of charity stores. So they were a lot more affordable, but I have been reading a lot of things online, and I wanted to see for myself what's happening at the thrift stores in Cape Town. Most of the stores that I visited are not charity stores, so you need to take that into account when you're looking at the prices. And I started off in Observatory. I figured there's so many thrift stores on the street, so I might as well start where they all are. And the first stop that I made was Never Knew. Very big store, lots of cool things in there. I did start filming on the outside. They had a bargain bin and everything, but as I got inside I realized that you don't allow people to film, so I stopped filming. And yeah, then I went next door, which was a really cool thrift store called Intsangu, I think, which was at 19 Lower Main Road, and they had quite a big variety of things as well. They have lots of different things. I can't give you a price range of how much things were going for because there were so many different things. But for instance, these corduroy pants, they had different colors. They were going for around 250, 200, all around the 200s. And then you would find a jacket, and maybe that would go to around 400, 500. So I can't give you a range like from this price to this price. It depended what you were looking for. But they did have a big range of things which were pretty cool. It gave me Joburg CBD vibes, and if you've ever thrifted in Joburg, then you know you can find really good stuff there. So it was good vibes in here. A lot of the things were still in very good condition, like these docks for instance. I think these were going for 1.4, so quite reasonable. And that's what we need to understand about thrifting. They're not always going to be dirt cheap items like finding dogs for 100 rand. But if it's cheaper than what it would go for retail and brand new, then that's a bargain. That is called thrifting. And I'll talk a bit more on that later. But the next spot that I really enjoyed was at Sussex Street, and it was this cute store, very unassuming when you're on the outside, which was on 25 Lower Main Road, and it was called Colab. Very unassuming when you're on the outside. You don't imagine how cool it is on the inside. It was such a nice thrifting experience for me. Usually when you go thrifting, it's full and it's got a lot of stuff everywhere, and there's just so many things and you need to sift through everything. But this store was so curated, and I really feel like they chose the very best of everything and just put out that. They left the rest out, and yeah, that was a very nice shopping experience. Since these were some of the shorts and bottoms that they had, cool patterns, leather, corduroy, all the different kinds, but literally only the best of everything. So everything that you picked up, if it was in your size, it was good to go. And then this was my absolute favorite rail. So it was a whole rail just full of knits. And if you enjoy thrifting vintage, you will really have a treat here, because that's the thing with vintage is you find so many different patterns, and you find like some granny knits, like something that a granny knitted many years ago, and it's literally the only one that exists. And then you find that at a thrift store, and it's so exciting. I'm so excited every time I see knits, because they really bring out so much personality in an outfit, and they're so special because they're handmade, and it takes a lot of effort and it takes time to make them. So always a treat. And they had such a good selection of knits, and nothing on this rail that I remember was more than 200 rand. So also fairly priced. That's what I can say about the store was, it was fairly priced. So many of everything they had, was something I would love to own. And most of the items were in perfect condition. really, really good condition. I did spot like maybe one or two, stains here and there, but you expect that because it's a thrift store. These are second-hand items, a lot of them vintage, which means they have been around for more than 20 years. So if you see like a tiny little stain that you really won't notice when you wear, or even one that you could probably take off when you get home, I would definitely buy, because these are vintage quality items, and all around 100 Rand, 130, 140, these shirts, really worth the price, I feel. You need to remember, stores like this are not charity stores, so they had to buy the items to sell it to you, and they have overheads to pay. They have rent to pay, employee salaries, utilities, tax. It's a normal business. So my thing with all thrift stores is they must just not be greedy. As long as they're not greedy and they're just running it as a normal business, that is perfectly okay. And I feel like on price, this store is fair. So these barrel looking beige pants, and they were so cool. They were going for 220, and yeah, they were really cool. They also had a cool changing room that you could try things on. I highly recommend, because I went to the changing room and I had a bit of delulu, because I don't know how I thought that my waist was gonna fit in these pants. But anyway, we live and we learn and we move on when we realize. So if you like these, go to the store, because maybe they're still around, because I couldn't fit them, so I had to put them back. But yeah, you win some, you lose some. They had so many different kinds of bottoms, so unique in how they look. These cargo pants, also very cool. These were Zara, and yeah, also tried these, and they were too small. So if you like any of these things, definitely pay them a visit, because I feel like you will definitely find something here. And going back on the pricing and how stores price their things, for me, as long as it is a bargain. So I can't come to a thrift store and find cotton on pants for 550 if they were 600 in store. For me, that's not a bargain. But if I find vintage pants that are maybe 500 Rand, but their true value was maybe 2,000 Rand, then that's a bargain. So you need to consider these kinds of things when you're complaining about thrift stores being too expensive, because I feel like sometimes we forget the actual value of things, and we want to go to thrift stores and just find them very cheap, and we also forget that they're not charity stores. I definitely beef with charity stores that are now renaming themselves thrift stores, which is fine, because they are a thrift store. Thrift stores are basically just all stores that are selling secondhand items, but their business model is based on them being non-profits, first of all. Second of all, they are having things donated to them, so the things, they get them for free. So for some charity stores, even though they do have expenses as well and overheads to pay 100%, they are still getting inventory at zero cost. So for me, when charity stores now start pricing their items according to its actual value, but they got it for free, then I'm beefing. Because I'm like, no, you're a charity store, you got it for free, sell it to me at a bargain so that I can come to the store, willingly donate stuff, and then you can make money from that, and the circle just keeps going. But yeah, there is a difference between these kinds of stores. And then another really cool thing about the store was they also had their own in-house brand, and they felt like such good quality. I actually really wanted this black shirt. I wanted to get it, but we left in such a rush, and then I couldn't. But yeah, something very cool about them, you'd really be supporting local, because it's a small business that does a bit of both. So brand new items and thrifted items, and the brand new items are also really nice. So I would definitely pay the store a visit, and I would make the trip, because I promise you will find something here. And yeah, I don't think I mentioned they have a very good winter range, so if you are in the area, pay them a visit if you're looking for winter stuff. And then as we were leaving, I spotted this Umi sushi place, and there's something about thrifting that just makes you hungry, because I was hungry, so I got a bit of sushi, and it was so good. The guy makes it in front of you. It was so therapeutic to watch, and it was overall just very fresh and really good. So if you like sushi, it's across the Never New store basically. And you can see I left no crumbs because one thing about your girl is she will finish her food. Don't play games with my food. Anyway, the next place we went to was in Muizenberg, and this one, not necessarily for clothes, I think, but if you're in the area, like I like to say, then I would stop by. It's at 39 Main Road, and I'll have all of the addresses of the places that I did visit down in the description below if you're interested in that. And like many thrift stores, they had a lot of different things. So like I said, not necessarily for clothes, but for everything else. And that's the cool thing about, these thrift stores. You don't know what you're gonna find. So they did have a lot of crockery and home stuff, little kettles. They had this little cute pokey pot. I don't know if I got a picture of that, but yeah, they had really cute stuff that you just wouldn't find anywhere else. So I would go for that. Oh, here is the pot. You see how cute that is. So if you're into, finding vintage antiques and those kinds of things, I would pay them a visit. There was lots of stuff in the store, but like I mentioned, I wouldn't necessarily come here for clothes. But I will show you on the outside the clothes that they do have. And that's the thing with thrifting. I could say to you now, don't come here for clothes, but then you could come the next day and find the most amazing clothing item. So that's the thing, you don't know what you're gonna find. So that's why I'm very careful about recommending places, because the things you find are essentially always different. I could come and find so many cool things, and then another person could come the next day and be like, this place you recommended sucked. And it's not that my recommendation sucked, it's that it was just a bad day to thrift. Or you just didn't pick things up and look under stuff and look above stuff, and you missed out a lot of stuff. So I'll never say, don't visit a thrift store, because you could find really cool things anywhere, really. So yeah, this was generally how the store was. There was a lot of different things. They also had a couple of shoes outside. Also, just something to think about, is right now with the economy being so tough, these small businesses really need us to support them. So before you're gonna go and buy something at the big stores, check out a thrift store. The thing you're looking for might be there, and it might be vintage, and it might be in so much better quality than you would find it at retail. And for me, even things like this, it could be a bargain. I don't know how much this thing retails brand new, but it probably is a bargain, because maybe this brand, I didn't actually check what brand it was, my bad, but maybe that brand, is something that actually costs 5,000 Rand brand new, so 600 is a bargain. Here's a good example. Something from Studio W Woolies would never be 20 Rand in store. So yeah, man, support these small businesses. If you know other small businesses and thrift stores around the area that I did not mention, please put them down in the description below. I've had so many stores tell me that, after I put out reels on their businesses, they had a lot of customers come in, and so your comments and stuff on these videos and your engagement that causes the video to have more views, and that thing really does help small businesses. So yeah, that's one way that you can help them stay open, because with rentals going up, you guys know how expensive rent in Cape Town is at the moment. These businesses are struggling to stay open. So yes, even if it's not in the area, if there's a thrift store that that you like shopping from, please put it down in the comments. Sharing is caring, guys. And if you're feeling even more generous, you can just tell us what you can generally find there, so that people know what they can expect to find when they go. Because it'll also be really cool to make this sort of like a thrifting directory, so everyone knows all the spots when they read the comments. So if you want to be a nice person, just put down where you thrift in the comments down below if you thrift in Cape Town. And if you're still with us in the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. The second last place that we went to was a hidden treasure in Muizenberg, and I didn't get much footage here, but it's in the Checkers Center. If you're in the center anywhere, you might as well pay them a visit. You never know what you're gonna find. I one time thrifted here maybe 10 years ago, and I got the coolest vintage traveling case. So yeah, you never know. And then the very last spot that we visited, and the informal one I mentioned right at the beginning of the video, was this one in Drury Rd, which was basically across Capricorn Square, that complex there. And I think the area that it's in is Vrygrond. Was it Vrygrond? I don't know. But anyway, it's on the outside. I did not get time to stop by and ask how much things were going for, which I'm so sad about because I really would have liked to know, because we had to rush to another appointment and so we couldn't stop. And I know some people are looking at this like, yo, who's gonna go thrifting here? But I'm telling you, I've been thrifting for more than 7 years now, and I can tell this is where the stock is. Places like this have the best stuff, and it looks a bit empty, but I'm pretty sure like on weekends it probably gets fuller. And so yeah, definitely be careful though if you're here, because I can tell you can definitely get mugged here. But a lot of the places that I thrift at in Joburg look like this, and yeah, it's the best places to thrift. So yeah, if you are in the area, definitely go check it out. And if you have thrifted here, please let us know in the comments how it is. I would be so interested to hear. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want more thrift content, I'll link up Thrifting in Joburg up here, which is so cool. Definitely watch that next, and we can link up on the socials. I'm on Instagram and TikTok at singles_thrift. See you at the next one. Happy thrifting. Bye.